Hi everyone, thank you for joining. We'll get started in a minute or two. Meanwhile, it will be great if you could introduce yourselves in the chat section. Let us know about your business, what you've been doing, if there is any specific questions you want us to take up. Hi Mayank. Hi. Aditya. We have Nikhil from Pune. Hi Nikhil. Without further ado, let's get started. The Indian e-commerce market is expected to grow to 111.4 billion by 2025 from a 46.2 billion as of 2020. And by 2030, it is expected to reach around $350 billion of worth. That's big. Today, we're going to be discussing on how D2C brands are overcoming the challenges of logistics and marketing. My name is Priya Kandasamy, and I'm the content marketing strategist at Adyogi. Please keep your questions coming in the Q&A section below. We will be taking up the questions in a short while. Among the speakers, we have Lucky Yadav, CXO of Adyogi, and Parinay Iktan, founder and COO of Shyplite. To give you a little background about our speakers, Lucky Yadav has over 20 years of experience across industries and has helped brands scale their businesses and generate efficient revenues online. Lucky currently heads the client experiences here at Adyogi and has been focusing on building 100 crore revenue brands. Hi, Lucky.
Hi everyone. I hope you are all safe and healthy, and so are your loved ones. It's great to connect with all of you today. As Priya just shared with you, I am Dr. Lucky Yadav, and I head business strategy at Adyogi. I closely work with the top 50 clients and look at scaling them to 100 crores.
Thank you, Lucky. We have Parinay Iktan, who has experience in digital marketing, e-commerce, and supply chain management. He founded Shyplite with the motive to solve problems of business logistics and supporting retailers to automate logistics and improve efficiency by seamlessly collaborating with multiple carriers on a single platform. Hi, Parinay.
Hi, Priya. Hi, everyone. I see a very active audience starting off with introductions. That's very rare to see in webinars. Great to be a part of this today's session. And as Priya mentioned about the scale and the leaps and bounds of where e-commerce is heading towards in its future. I think these sessions, make a important difference for all our viewers in understanding how they can be more efficient in their business cycles. I hope everyone is staying indoors, staying safe, keeping healthy.
Thank you, Parinay. We are sure staying indoors. We're trying to stay indoors at least, staying safe. So we have businesses from different life cycles with ambitious plans. I think the following polls will help us in understanding our audience better. On your screens right now should be your first poll. Question for today. Okay, the question is, how do we plan to achieve the scale we are looking? Okay, the polls are ready. The first poll is, what are the platforms you currently use to promote your digital ads? Google, Facebook, both Facebook and Google, or other platforms if you. And the second question is, what is your current life cycle stage? We will be closing the poll now. Cool. The first question, how do we plan to achieve the scale we are looking through digital ads once we have attained a stabilized outcome from our previous marketing campaigns? Will Adyogi be able to help us in strategizing the same? Lucky, do you want to take up this question?
Hi. Okay. So it's a good question. It comes up quite often once people have started to experience performance marketing and experience that the wonders that it can do for their business. The next step, of course, which comes in, or the next obvious question that comes in, is that how do you scale from there? So they help you not only serve better quality of ad to your existing set of customers who are already engaging with you, but it also helps you to target the new audience which might not be aware about your brand yet, thereby getting you a consistent set of engagement coming to your website. And we really advise that based on all the insights which are tailor-made for your brand and your account, we gradually take the brand to greater number and greater heights. And we have experienced this with a lot of our brand across industries, where we have scale them almost to 10 times in a span of a year. So once your basic performance marketing account is set up, then the next strategy is to scale up. I think I hope that answers the question, Priya.
Yes, it does. Let's just do a quick poll to know your understanding on the logistics and or what you can expect from your logistics provider, right? What is the most important attribute you consider in a logistics provider? Is it technology? Is it pricing? Is it the reach, or the responsiveness to your business needs? And the next question is, which of the following approach is your brand following in 2022? Only retail, only D2C, or are you following an omni-channel approach? Should be closing the polls now. Cool. The next question is, how do you keep up with the latest technology advances in logistics when it comes to e-commerce? I think, Parinay, you can take up this question.
Right. Interesting question, Priya. Thank you for that. Uh, Keeping up with the technology advances is, it is a crucial part of any business, I must say, and especially for logistics. Considering post COVID, the entire supply chain has to be, broken down and restaged. Considering we've seen a huge shift of how consumers shop, how they want their shipments to be delivered, and that has impacted, and in a better manner, in a positive manner, obviously, a lot of e-commerce and logistic businesses. Especially with the D2C businesses growing and getting reshaped with so much automation and fulfillment for, continuously evolving businesses, these businesses demand uh, expansion at a very rapid pace. And at every level of shipping, with what we do at Shyplite, there's some sort of automation involved, uh, be it a simple process of, booking a courier, or helping you track the shipment. So there's an automation behind that. We've moved past that time wherein 5 years back you used to, or 4 years back you used to manually track shipments. Uh, and Here at Shipline, as market continues to grow, as e-commerce continues to grow, we are trying to keep up with the advancing technologies, so we can find the best uses for for our users, for the sellers, and for their logistics journey. So we've got a think tank team, probably, who's always in feedback mode. They keep connecting with sellers because it's very important to know from your users what can be done better, right? So I was just going through the poll also. So it is, I feel technology, reach, and pricing are the basic necessities of any such business. How we keep up is by being responsive to the business's needs. That I think is primary, being always responsive to what your sellers want, or what rather the market is resonating in terms of demand.
Sure. Thanks, Parinay. I think this reminds me of to say go big or go home. So I think Lucky, can you add on like how businesses can keep up with technology on a digital marketing front, or how do they be online with the competition that they're seeing on the e-commerce aspect?
Right. So, Priya, yeah, again, referring to our tool, over the years, we've realized this at Adyogi, working with various brands across industries and scaling them. We have realized that technology plays a very key role, because at the end of the day, you are as good as at understanding your customer, that's where you build your brand from. So unless you have all the data, all the insights, all the analytics, especially which is specific to your industry and your brand, how do you get information to make key decisions regarding the brand growth or brand scale up? So we have a very robust, in fact, technology team invested in at Adyogi, which plays a very key role in helping us improving our tool, because we all know that in today's time, technology is something which is advancing every day, and it is very important for us to keep ahead of our consumers, keep ahead of our industry. And so we are heavily invested in technology because that's where we get our information pool from.
Thank you, Lucky. Parinay, do you want to take this up?
Priya, I lost you like the last 10 seconds. Could you repeat the question?
Yes, sure. The question is, what do you think is the future of logistics industry?
Right. Logistics has remained the backbone for many industries in the past year, and we've actually witnessed massive uptake in new categories, especially with the DTC advent, and amidst several lockdowns and rising cases again. Logistics has actually played a key role, in ensuring smooth flow of goods, be it particularly essential items, and even despite lockdowns and uh, pure scarcity of various type of resources, the Indian logistics sector per se has been approximated at $200 billion in size and is set to grow, over a 10% CAGR in the next 5 years. Uh, there's more hyper local penetration now coming in, especially in the metro and tier one cities, which market is rapidly expanding. And especially with the kind of automation and integration of the digital ecosystem, this sector has been, adding to the how would I put it, in the is directly contributing to the national economy. There's a higher demand for a skilled man for labor force. It has been generating employments with new fulfillment centers coming up. There's more logistics parks coming up. So there is has been logistics has been a direct contributor to the growth of the country per se. And every I think 3 years we see a new trend coming in. Now the new trend coming in is the fulfillment. Then I think down the year you will see drone deliveries happening, drones flying overhead. So logistics has been and will, I think, remain a very key aspect of any business, especially e-commerce, because that is what governs today's e-retailers and retail sectors.
Yeah. Thanks, Parinay. Okay, the next question. We do see a lot of brands going offline to online. I mean, a lot of retailers have come online in the last few months, to be honest. I think since lockdown or since COVID, we did have a lot of brands coming online. So when there are very much established brands in the retail sector, and if they're planning to go online, what would your tips for them be? Lucky, do you want to take up this question?
Yes, again, a good question, Priya. Not to boast, but I think pandemic worked great for Adyogi, because it was actually during the COVID and the pandemic time that a lot of brands, which so India has been a very brick mortar kind of a country. The retail outlets are more oriented towards selling offline and creating an experience for the consumer in terms of walking into a store. Especially the fashion industry thrives on it. Your consumer wants to come into your store, try your product, and then buy it. The pandemic actually compelled a lot of big retailers and brands to think of an alternative strategy to continue to remain in touch with their consumer. And of course, the sales took a massive hit because people were in a lockdown. I have personally had very up and close conversations with big retail groups, which said that somehow we did not know suddenly how to keep in touch with the consumer. And I think that's where D2C played a big step there to help them remain in touch with the consumer. I saw a lot of brands who did not take their online presence very seriously before that start to think of for their own website. In fact, a lot of brands and retailers who were so far only present in offline, or let's say had a feeble presence on the marketplaces suddenly felt the need to have their own website, just to keep just to remain in touch with and keep up with the demand of the industry. So somehow and it turned out to be all good. A lot of brands could understand that it was better match selling online. They could reach everywhere, because you of course can't have a store in every city, but online gives you an opportunity to reach your consumer in tier 1, 2, 3, any city that they might be. And of course it is much lighter on your pocket as compared to renting out a full-fledged store and having an operational store with staff, etc. So everyone started to suddenly think about having a website present and start to reach out their consumer through social media, through performance marketing, Facebook and Google. And why not? We are more or less working. In fact, Parinay could add to it that we are more or less going towards an omni-channel economy, where we want to touch our customers across all points.
Lucky, you seem to be on mute.
Oh, sorry, have I been speaking on mute so far?
No.
Sorry, okay. So I think with the omni channel coming in and the penetration of Geo through the tier 3, 4 cities, we want to reach out our consumer everywhere possible, whether it is at the store, at marketplaces, through our website, through social media, because consumer has a very small span of attention, and out of sight is out of mind for them. So I think D2C or having your website is a very, very good way today to reach out to your consumer directly, and also have a more clutter-free experience for your consumer. Like, if I am a brand loyal, I don't want to go and hunt for you on, let's say, a Myntra or an Ajio. I want to come to your website. I already know what I want. I check it out, and it's a quick, smooth experience for me. So yes, the pandemic has, and rightfully so, forced a lot of brands to go the D2C way. Back to you, Priya.
Thank you, Lucky. I think continuing that question, we do have Mayank asking how e-commerce brands can overcome the challenges of logistics and how to reduce RTOs. Parinay, do you want to take up this question?
Absolutely, Priya. I think this is the biggest problem in logistics and
Yes,
e-commerce.
I also want to know the answer.
No, first I'd like to agree with what Lucky said in the previous answer. Omni-channel, brick and mortar organizations who were traditionally operating from retail stores, there has been a massive shift. We never have seen so many traditional brick and mortar organizations coming to us uh, via a digital outreach, ad probably, and saying that, okay, right now we need your service. And they were puzzled on how will it even work, because they're very accustomed with B2B logistics, right? And B2C logistics is not what they've aced in the past years. They've aced being a very good touch point for the consumers face to face, and making that in-store experience excellent. But D2C or direct to their consumers via their website or via marketplaces was very new as a concept to them. And this is one of the biggest challenges. Like when let's say I as a consumer, I would prefer going to the brand's website, but then the brand questions us as a logistic partner that this consumer came into my website, made an order, now why is it being returned? So challenges of logistics, like RTO, or like having a better transit time, or rather I was going through one of the questions wherein Mr. Rohan, I think, was addressing about was trying to address damaged good and high prices. So these are some of the problems of logistics. How to reduce returns is, I would honestly say that prepaid shipments have a lower return rate compared to COD shipments. It's a better method to market to our consumers. So you need to start building the brand from day one. So your prepaid ratio, order ratio is high. Have a small COD fee that really discourages consumers from using that COD option. Prepaid, you wouldn't see a higher return rate than 1%. That's a flag if your return rates are higher than 1% in prepaid shipment. Whereas COD shipments return rate varies across industries. I've seen apparel industries having a return rate as high as 20%, whereas a gifts COD rate, or another probably a personal care COD percentage, return percentage would be a lot less lower. So you can really how to enhance prepaid orders, adding to that question, for someone has asked, is have a deterrent COD cost uh, at your checkout. Have a 25-30 rupees COD charge, 50 rupees COD charge, and give a 10% discount on prepaid orders, or a 5% discount on prepaid orders as per your average order value. So that what it does is, let's take an example, 1,000 rupees of a product, and you have a 10% discount. The product value is 900 now, whereas 1,000 and you have a COD charge, the uh, total order cost becomes 1,050. So there's a huge gap, 150 rupees. As a consumer, I would prefer to save 150 rupees when I'm ordering from your website directly. And you have a prepaid order which will not return. Damages I see, secure packaging is very, very, very important. I cannot stress how important secure packaging is for damaged goods, to reduce the damages, especially if you're in a fragile items, because logistic partners even, our hands tied behind our backs. Fragile items like glass, they do not get damage claims very easily, or sometimes not at all. So invest in your packaging, brand your packaging. That increases your brand's recall also for the end consumer. And that obviously Lucky would agree that when you're then remarketing to your clients who ordered before, and you've already invested in the brand packaging also, that recall and that remarketing strategy would yield higher results.
Absolutely, Parinay. In fact, the suggestion that you gave right now, we have actually tested it out with some of our brands, and it has worked really well, because as a consumer, Indian audience does not want to pay for shipping. So the minute you discourage, so I can go and spend 5,000 on a website, but I don't want to spend additional 100 for shipping. That's something we have tested out across our brands. So it's both these ideas, to having a deterrent cost associated with COD, and also giving at the checkout stage 5 or 10% off, additional off on your prepaid order, has really worked wonders for our brands to move their audience to a more prepaid model. I absolutely agree with you there. Yes.
This actually has been one of case studies from one of our existing customers only, who went 100% prepaid in 2019. They were having 80% COD volumes, not denying that the order volume did for a quarter. But when it rose back, in that one quarter, they invested heavily in marketing, especially remarketing to the clients who were previously, have had successful COD orders. So then, now they're doing close to, I think, 300 prepaid orders a day without returns. As a e-commerce seller, I think that is wonderful. And they never crossed 150, 200 orders a day, even with COD before that. So that is where, we were also inspired to pass on this message to other people in the ecosystem.
Thanks, Parinay. I think we from the Adyogi team, we worked on an ebook and a video series on how do brands reduce their RTOs. It is available on our website. I will get somebody from the team to post the link for the same in this chat box only. So I think we've covered it in 3 parts. One, before ordering, that is on the marketing front, what all do you do? And the process, that is from the operations end, what all do you do to reduce RTOs? And finally, from the shipment end, what all do you do to reduce your RTOs? Cool. Going to the next question. Apart from digital ads, what all can a brand do in order to witness good revenue or good returns coming from their digital marketing? Lucky, do you want to take up this question?
Yeah. So, like I was just mentioning earlier, Priya, the audience today has a very, small recall, or the market is so crowded that their span of attention is really low. And also over the years, we have seen that the kind of quality and of creative content has gone absolutely top notch. Whether you believe it or not, but the kind of content your brand has in terms of your creatives, in terms of photo shoots, in terms of how you're managing your social media engagement, how well your consumer is engaged with your, let's say, an Instagram page or your Facebook page. Do you understand your consumer really well? Are you well engaged with them? These are some factors which really impact the audience connect, and they're coming to your website to shop, because at the end of the day, you have to understand the persona of your consumer. You have to know that what are they watching, what are they wearing, what is their lifestyle, and you have to talk to them there. In terms of creating creative content for your brand, we have seen that for example, we have seen this especially for fashion and our ethnic wear brands, that lifestyle shoots work really well instead of just a typical photo studio shoot which is going on, because that gives the consumer immediately an idea that, okay, this is where I can wear this outfit, this is how this outfit can make me look. And of course, there's a better chance to buy. We see very good returns on the ad spend, especially for brands which are focusing better on creating good content. Another thing which has really worked for our brands is engaging with influencers which are very relevant to their brands. Not going to just any influencers, but going to industry specific influencers who have sort of a mandate talking about their specific vertical. Engaging with them, having collabs with them has also shown a tremendous, and then we actually go ahead and use those influencer shoots in promoting the brand in our paid ads as well, and we see very good traction. In fact, the ROAS again is very good on those kind of ads. So I think overall, working on your brand communication, your brand image, your creative content, your collaborations, your affiliations go a very long way. You have to make an emotional connect with your consumer if you want to retain them in today's time. Yeah.
Thank you, Lucky. The next question is, what are the best practices for optimizing supply systems for businesses looking to expand globally? Parinay, do you want to take up this question?
Right. Very tricky, this question, Priya. So being as honest as I can be, there is no single playbook, to ensure success in such a dynamic market that we have today. New channels to sell, new ways to deliver. It's a constantly evolving market. It's very, just to start off as a pointer, it's very important to optimize locally, maximize your investment in critical resources. For example, like we were talking about the COD and prepaid example. So ensure that your checkout, I know that you might not relate your checkout experience directly to your logistics experience, but trust me, it has a huge impact in the entire order journey till the time the product reaches your consumer. Focus on your core strengths, and you should try to outsource other activities. Like I saw a question here: should D2C companies prefer third-party logistics or deliver themselves? Uh, your As a business, your core agenda, your core task is to get more orders, to sell more. You should leave the pain of logistics, the hassle of logistics, to organizations like us. Probably help organizations take help from organizations like Adyogi for better performance marketing, and focus on what you can do best about your brand. Engage with the consumer more, engage probably source better, and lastly, uh, automate things, use technology. I'm sure there is a sort of technology available for every task that happens, be it your sales, be it your order recall, be it your merchandising. Even I see so many platforms now helping you source and try to enable direct services to consumer. uh, Indulging with the previous question that was asked to Lucky, we have something of a continuous messaging system once a shipment is dispatched to your consumer. And what it does is it has a link of the tracking page, which can be custom branded. You can input your logo and everything, your customer support details, and that is essentially a tracking SMS, or a WhatsApp SMS, which goes to the consumer. And what it does is it continuously keeps engaging with the consumer, keeps them aware on what's happening with the shipment, should they expect it, especially the COD shipment, so the amount is ready, and also tries to create a brand recall. Now, this part of the supply chain helps you build more confidence in the consumer, and we are just leveraging technology to automate it for you. So, I would say, summarizing again, three things: start optimizing your resources, focus on core strengths, and lastly, most importantly, use as much technology as you can in all of your daily processes.
Thanks, Parinay. I think continuing to that question, what do you think are the factors any new seller should consider while opting for a logistics partner? Parinay, I want you to take up this question as well.
Okay. So when you're setting up your e-commerce business, or rather your e-commerce store, you should have a proper checklist of what needs to be done. It has to be very holistic. Sometimes sellers tend to overlook that logistics is as important as your good looking website or your marketing strategy. uh, you should really focus on what the courier is providing to you in terms of service, in terms of pricing. If that service suits your product, when I say service, I'll give you an example. We've got six multiple modes of or shipping slabs, depending on transit times and freights, uh, and depending on weights, obviously. So you have to see if your logistics provider can provide you those. If, let's say, if I'm selling a shoe category, so if can my provider give me a fixed 2 kg, 1 kg weight slab, which optimizes my cost, right? Uh, on a general note, I won't deny the fact that, in 2022, this year, the supply chain will immensely evolve. So the most important thing becomes to check whether, the functions of your logistics partner is in sync with your digital ecosystem or not. Do you have a ready integration with your backend Shopify, or WooCommerce, or whatever D2C website backend or not? If like I was talking, the tracking SMS, if they're sending that out or not. So has to be very they have to be in that ecosystem for you to be able to reduce your time hours, your time cost on that. For example, and now especially, I was seeing another question here, including that to my answer. 1 or 2 day deliveries. So when let's say, go on Flipkart, Assured, or Amazon Prime, and you see 1 day delivery, it's not coming to you. It's not traveling from Bangalore to Delhi overnight. It's coming from the peripherals of the city to within the city limits overnight. That is where fulfillment comes in. If you're doing at least, I don't know, 500, 700, 800 orders a month, 500 to 1,000 orders a month, you should look at decentralizing your inventory. Probably don't have 3 or 4 warehouses, but at least one warehouse in north and south, or west or east, depending on what your target market is, depending on what kind of product you're selling, which tier you're targeting, what demographics you're targeting. And as we all know now, global is the new local. So the logistics partner has to be a key contributor, in ensuring for your business that your products reach your customer within a acceptable time frame, within an acceptable condition, and not just domestically, but around the globe with minimum effort. And that is actually, honestly, the mission at Shyplite. That is what we're trying to achieve here, with a hassle-free logistics solution. I hope I've answered your question, Priya.
Yes, you have. Thank you, Parinay. Okay, this is an interesting question. I would rather want both of you to take it up, but the question is, so when businesses start, right, they start with a motto saying that this is what they want to be doing. But then gradually when they grow, they see revenue coming from different channels, and then they kind of like lose the motto that they were working for as and when they grew. So I think at some point of time, they come to this dilemma thinking like, where are we going? Are we running behind just revenue, or do we want to like keep the motto intact? So what do you think should they be doing when they come to this dilemma? I think Lucky, you can take this question first.
Okay, so what I would say is that there is no right or wrong answer to this question. We actually work with brands which are they have just one focus, which is to scale, and hit great revenue numbers. They want, of course, they are looking at future investments, and there is so much disruption in D2C space right now that everybody wants to make it big, and everybody wants to make it big yesterday. So everybody's, in a rush to hit that, 50 CR, 100 CR revenue clocking in from their websites. And then they want to just purely have a scale up story to pitch to their investors and, sort of get the investment in and dilute the brand. So, and there are majority of brands who are only the only purpose is to scale up the revenue of the brand. On the other side, we also very often come across brands who want to be known as something, who want to be known as somebody. They want to so much so that they don't even want to sell on marketplaces, because they want to have only one exclusive touch point to their consumer, which is their own website. They say that we'll sell less, but we want great quality product, we want a great experience for a consumer, and we want to be somebody 5, 10, 15 years down the line. The brand legacy should be there, the brand name should be there. And we know that despite all the surgeons in the D2C space, there are brands which have remained in every industry, which everyone knows of, refers of, and they want to become that. They want to make their name, so to say, in the industry. So I would say that to each his own. You have to be clear that what is the goal you have in mind, what is the end result that you have in mind. Is it scale up or is it building a brand name? By the way, both are also possible. It's just a longer path there, but you can choose both as well. So that would be my 2 bit on it. There's no right or wrong choice there, Priya.
Thank you, Lucky. Parinay, I'd like you to add on to this.
No, I think I agree with what Lucky said. There are obviously multiple kinds of thought processes behind running your own brand, but there has to be a USP. The consumer experience can be the USP. And even when we talk about investments coming in from, be it foreign investments or VC investments coming into the D2C space, money pouring down like crazy, you have to acknowledge one fact, that every D2C brand which has scaled up very fast has had one key core USP to themselves, and they stick to it. They've walked hand in hand while scaling and keeping that USP intact. I don't have a ready example for that, but if you start losing focus of what your original USP is for your brand, I think no matter how big you scale or how big your outreach is, there's no longevity. You will scale rapidly, but the brand will fizzle out. There will be no recall, because then you're not creating a USP for yourself. As Lucky also mentioned, there has to be a lot of uh, 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 in loyalty towards the brand. That is what you should seek in building, because that would really also help increase return orders. I think I'm not sure what the correct marketing term for that is, but repeat orders. Sorry, not return orders. So yeah, I think you have to stick to your USP and then parallelly look at scaling. That would be my submission on this question.
Thank you, Parinay. Cool. The next question is YouTube a good place to start digital marketing, or should we start with Facebook and Instagram? Or, should go big, or just start big, Lucky, what is your call on this?
Priya, I lost you in the last 10 seconds, just the last part of the question.
Sure. Should e-commerce brands start at, just one platform, just Facebook or Instagram or just YouTube, or should they probably start at every place? Should they just start big and be present everywhere to grow their brand, or, show their brand's presence?
Okay, so we get this question a lot. Okay, of course, there is a budget and the your interest associated when you are starting performance marketing. But if I have to put it very simply, I would say that Facebook and Google is like a Jai Viru Jodi. You need both. They work so beautifully in tandem with each other that they add more strength to your existing campaigns. So like, for example, Facebook will really help you reach out to more audiences, reach out not only to people who have engaged with you or know of you or have interacted with you. It also helps you to reach out to a more database of consumers who are not aware of your brand yet. Whereas when someone goes to Google and looks for something, there is a very high intent already to shop that product. So once we have that information, from Google, or even now if you see that when you go to YouTube, you're trying to watch a video and you get very irritated, there's a skip video or skip ad option which comes in, so the ads are running there as well. So the information that Google passes on to us in terms of consumer, which is very specific to you, really helps you build up better campaigns for your Facebook as well. So whichever brands we work with or we consult with, we advise all of them that if not equal, then at least offer or allocate 25 to 30% of your budget to Google as well, and we've got very, very good results there.
Thank you, Lucky. So the next question is how to cope up with increasing logistic rates when the product line is very cost competitive. Parinay, do you want to take up this question?
Okay, so this is an anonymous attendee. Yeah, so see, post-COVID, especially with the hike in fuel prices, logistic freights have been at the highest in the past half a decade, and I'm not sure it will be coming down very soon. At least not in the current future, 3 or 6 months to see. Should look at alternate delivery methods and optimizing your packaging. That is where you bleed out most of the logistic freights. It's not really only the freight charges, but also how you pack the product, how efficiently you're packing the product, if you're using an oversized packaging or not, if you're using a box or a flyer. uh, Try to use a corrugated box so it fixes your weight. It does not go exceed a certain weight slab. Instead of an express service, try to use a surface mode shipping, which is actually a lot cheaper. And now, because of how the industry has evolved, the transit time are barely an additional 1 day. Now, I understand an additional 1 day can lead to additional returns coming in, additional RT orders, especially for COD. But you can optimize it in a manner wherein you ship COD orders faster and ship prepaid orders in surface, because then an additional day of delay would not impact your return rate. So also, if you're looking at scaling, talk with a logistic partner about let's say a 3-month projection, and not a spot rate like I've done this much shipments this month and I now need a revision. Try to build confidence with the logistic partner as they try to build confidence with you for you to use their services like us. For multiple cases with startups, we really work on projections with them. If we have a 3-month projection, what's it going to look like down the line, and so there has to be a lot of mutual trust in that. So I would say packaging is very important. Looking at packaging is very important. Choosing the right packaging is very important. Choosing the right courier partner and the right mode of shipping is very important. Your product might be more than 1 kg in volume, probably less than 1 kg in actual weight, and the courier will be charging you volume. So you need to be aware of such minute points, which really have a high impact, probably bring down the cost by 20% easily.
Thank you, Parinay. Cool. We've come to the end of questions. Okay, one last question. So when brands scale beyond a point, they start wanting like look out on things that they need to be prepared on. So there are brands that are scaling from that are trying to scale from 100 orders to 500 orders a month. Brands trying to scale from 500 orders to 1,000 orders per month. So what would be the checklist that you'd suggest for them to like keep ready at different stages, for a brand going from 300 to 500 and a brand going from 500 to 1,000? Parinay, do you want to take up this question first?
Right. Uh, since we are a logistic provider, I'll talk from the logistic point of view. Uh, One is, as we were talking earlier, logistics cost. Have a plan ready of what how your logistics cost will look like, since you will be investing a lot more money in marketing and other areas, especially in packaging, branding. So your cost should not blow up. That should be one major concern, so that it is always optimized. Have share, that is where, sharing projections in advance also comes very handy, so you know what you can expect from a logistics partner if you give them x number of orders or a certain amount of volume. uh, Second would be to continuously engage or keep engaging your consumers via different modes. When you're doing 300 orders, let's say, a month, you have limited resources, right? You might only be reaching out to them on via one channel. But whereas when you're scaling, you're doing 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, your touch points should parallelly increase while increasing your orders. So the trust in your brand, the consumers trust in your brand increases. That is especially where the D2C play comes in. You don't want them going to buy your product on a marketplace, because then you'll be paying commissions as well. You need to keep that trust building in between your consumer and yourself, with your brand. So increasing touch points as you're increasing orders. So it's kind of being like omnipresent, regardless if it's Facebook, it's Instagram, if it's WhatsApp or any other channel of communication. Your brand should be present, so the consumer does not feel isolated after ordering from you. This is what comes to mind, Priya. I'll try to think more while Lucky answers.
Thanks, Parinay. Lucky, do you want to cover the marketing front or
Yes.
the operations front?
Right. So, we have seen this, Priya, that, one of the first things that goes out of the window, if the brand is not careful while scaling, is the brand experience. The consumer experience starts to get diluted. You'll see that there are a lot of entrepreneurs and founders who will be very enthusiastic while starting the brand. They will be sending out personalized notes to their consumers, thanking them, giving, great packaging options are there. There would be coupons. A lot will go in giving that personal special feeling to your consumer when you're starting on. Then suddenly, as you start to scale, one of the first roadblocks you hit is that experience starts to get diluted, because suddenly you can't be sending out notes to everyone. So one of the first things that I would ask the brands to be careful about is to not dilute the brand experience, because that's what the consumer chose you in the first place for. The second problem that they hit is, in all industries, is production, supply chain, and logistics. Although, as the volumes increase, the cost factor does go down, and it should become a reinforcing point for the brands to scale up more. But somewhere again, we have seen that as more orders start to pour in, suddenly in fashion we have seen it, that the brands start to experience difficulty in fulfilling those orders, simply because they're not able to source or manufacture that kind of product, or they were not ready for that scale. So if you're scaling up, you should be absolutely ready with the product manufacturing and supply chain. That's the next thing which should be very important. And logistics, again, I would add there, because the brands say that, oh, we're getting so many orders, we were not ready in terms of, as a team, of dispatching so many orders in a day. And then again, deliveries, how your consumer receives your product, really impacts the consumer experience. So I think these are the first three things that get impacted when the brands start to scale. In terms of performance marketing, sometimes brands come to us with a solution that they are hitting some sort of audience exhaustion. They are not able to find more audience and better audience to reach out to. So for all those people, Adyogi has a great tool for you. We have a great tool which helps you to continue to find and build more audiences for you. So that was more from the marketing standpoint.
Thank you, Lucky. I think we've come to the end of today's session. We do have special offers for the attendees of this webinar. You have the details of the offers in the chat box below. The same offers will also be conveyed to you on your emails. We will also be sharing a recording of today's session through emails only. So just watch out for our emails. And thank you so much, Parinay and Lucky, for being with us today. We did have great questions and even better answers coming from you as well.
Thank you, Priya. Thanks a lot. I think it was a lovely interaction and I think great questions. Thank you and looking forward to more such seminars in future.
Thank you.
Absolutely a pleasure, Priya, especially with the interactive audience. We rarely see such interactive audience in 1 hour short format webinars, and it was great being a part of the session today. Looking forward to more such sessions. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you so much.